This is the old one, and it's obviously not working. It's completely dead. So this is how the engine room is looking like now. It's quite a disaster. I can show you photos taken from before I took away all these things. Now I'll show you where the starter engine is. It's down here. As you can see, here is the starter. It's not back on position yet because I haven't managed to do it yet. But that's what I'm gonna work on. Now I can't film while I'm doing it, but I'm hopefully showing you in a short while that it's back on place. Okay, now I managed to tighten and put the starter in place. And now I have to put this triangle down here. Because it's sitting like here up and on the manifold and to the engine and supporting that, and also supporting the starter motor. I managed to tighten the starter motor and that triangle you can see down there. It still needs to be fastened from underneath. Now, next thing I will do is to be able to access the lowest screw on the bolt on the starter motor, which you can see at the bottom. I had to remove the clutch arm, so I have to take that back. And this is the arm I have to put down and make sure it works so I can use the car if I can start the engine after all this. I have to go down here. I have to tighten it to this one and over to the clutch, which is down here somewhere. Well, as you can see, the clutch arm is now in place, but what I just remember was that actually I should do now was putting the cables back on the starter motor here, so I'll be able to start the motor. So that's what I'll do now. Back to the clutch arm here, which I have to put back in place. And in that case, these two fellas are very important, because when you disconnect the clutch from the arm, this will fall down on the floor, and if you don't find them, you have a problem with assembling the motor again. So now the clutch is in order. You can see that spring here, or whatever you call it in English, and that little rod down here, it's in place, and it's actually just sitting like that, and I don't understand how it doesn't fall off when you drive a car, but it's, well, anyway, next step. Now I have to get this tube back in place. It's just, I took it off from here to be able to access the starter. Now that thing is in place, that tube. I have to say, when working these things, that you don't lose anything down in the engine, because it's either it's tools or something from the tube, which I actually did before, but luckily I found it, and it's now here. So I guess the next thing will be this tube, which is coming from the cooler, and it goes to this one. And when you take it off, you have to be extremely careful that it doesn't spill out a lot of cooling liquid. Maybe better to drain the cooler before, but I actually did, and just a little bit came out on the car. So now that's in place, secure and tightened, I hope. Next thing, yes, well, the next thing will be this one, and I have to put this back in place. Now this is the easy one. Put down here. That's it. Now the next thing I have to do is to tighten that triangle I showed you earlier, which has to, the third bolt is underneath the car. I managed to dig a hole in that grave here, because it's filled up with sand, as you can see, sand and stones, to so it's not used as a grave. It's much deeper than this, but this is what I dug out to be able to come underneath the car, and it's still quite difficult to get in under it. I have to go in there, and I'll show you what I'm going to tighten. This is the bolt. Now it's quite difficult to see, but this tube I had to take off, and here's the bolt going to be. So these two things has to be tightened, and then the car is nearly ready for trial. Wow. The next thing I have to do is to get this baby back in place here. And that's what I'm gonna do. So now this is tightened and down here. Hopefully it was in this order. Now I had to put this filter back on and that tube. Let's see how that works. Well, now I managed to get this tube on to this here, and here is going to sit to the air filter, which I'm going to put on its place now. So, and also I'll connect some tubes down here afterwards. Well, now the Bosch Jetronic air filter is down. It's connected with these, put together with these special things here. It's in place. I have to connect this tube now. So now, tightened, on place, this on place. Now I need the last two tubes. That will be this one and one more. Oh, here it is. Okay. So now these two tubes here are secured and tightened. I put this black box back on. It looks like it's time to put back the battery, plus and minus, and pray to God that everything is in place and working. Wow. Well, this is it. The battery is connected. This is really exciting. I nearly don't dare to do to try to start it, but one has to do it. Okay. This is the moment of truth. What will happen when I try to start it? I'm crossing my fingers. Yes! It's working. This is really, really cool. Wow! And it sounds even better than before.